Hi, today I'm going to be talking with the amazing Emma Wainer about the power of your voice in business. And it's incredible. I can tell you it's amazing. We've been speaking about this and I'm so excited. And today's subject is all about how to deal with brain fog or loss of verbal recall, which is a massive issue for menopausal women. And I'm joined, as I say, by the amazing Emma Wainer, and she is an executive voice coach. She works mainly with women, those women who are just on the cusp of C-suite or in C-suite, or those entrepreneurs who are really starting to scale their business. Hi, Emma.
Hi, Kate. Lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, it's a real pleasure. Thank you so much. So we're going to be talking about brain fog today. There's going to be 4 in this series, and they are all incredible. Absolutely amazing. So today is brain fog. I hate the word brain fog, and anyone who watches my videos know that it feels more like you are about to go mad because you cannot remember what you were going to say. You start a sentence and oh my goodness me. And if you are in one of those really important meetings, or you're in an interview or anything that's absolutely critical to your business, that is the very last moment you want it to kick in, but you can guarantee it's the moment when it's going to kick in. It's a big issue for us, but Emma, what can we do to ensure that we kind of gain control in that moment? How can we actually start to feel in control? Because it's the very thing you don't feel in that moment.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Well, I guess the first thing to say is that although this might be happening with more frequency, it has always happened. None of us are fluent all the time. It just doesn't happen. I can be coaching and suddenly the word just goes, and it will become more frequent as I go through menopause. I'm absolutely certain. But sometimes there's this idea that we were amazingly fluent before and now we're not fluent. And actually that's not true. So first of all, we have to kind of just dispel that myth. You've always been a bit disfluent. Now you're just a bit more disfluent than you were before. Now, why is that important? Well, actually, because there's a big discrepancy in the amount of tension that we put on ourselves if we go into a situation thinking, well, I used to be perfect and now look at me, now I can't find those words. Suddenly we've created this tension in the body. Now, voices do not react well to tension at all. I said to somebody, I said to you, Kate, earlier, actually, it's a bit like trying to drive your car in the wrong gear. Yeah, you're trying to drive a car, and it's in third, and actually it should be in fifth. It doesn't sound great. That's what happens to it's exactly what happens to our voices. We get this tension in the throat. We're not breathing properly. Our shoulders are up here, and suddenly our voices sound not like ourselves. So now not only have we forgotten what word we want to say, but we sound stressed. And unfortunately, what happens then for our audience is like they start to think she's not in control, which is not true at all. We've just forgotten the word that we want to say. So that tension piece is really, really critical. I mean, I'm sure lots of your clients talk about that kind of that idea of tension to you, Kate.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. I mean, that very point that you can be in flow, you can be doing really well, and you can then suddenly just get to a point where you think, oh my God, I can't remember. It's not even I can't remember the word. I can't remember the whole sentence or the topic. Everything is like a black hole that I've just dived into. And the stress that creates is huge. And stress when you're menopausal is terrible because your adrenal glands are working really hard for you. They are stepping in for your ovaries and helping you produce progesterone. But the minute you get really stressed and you get that fight or flight or freeze reaction going on, which, let's face it, when you dive into the black hole, that's going to happen. At that point, your adrenal glands go, oh, hang on. Progesterone doesn't make us run faster or jump higher. So quick, let's stop the production of progesterone and start to produce adrenaline and cortisol. Well, that's fantastic, except for the fact you need progesterone to break down the cortisol. So in that moment, you have to go, I'm going to calm down. You have to actively take the decision to calm down. And I've noticed, because I did what exactly you said I shouldn't do, I breathed in.
Yeah. So when we need to calm down, there's three things that really need to happen. So number one, most important, is something we should stop doing. So the first thing we have to do is stop criticizing ourselves when that happens. Oh, I should be able to do this. I used to be able to do, and we get into that critical sense of thinking. So we have to stop doing that. So one of the things I say to my clients is we're going to take away all those kinds of sentences and we're going to replace it with, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Has no judgment attached to it at all. It's like, isn't that interesting? I'm doing that thing again. Isn't that interesting? I've lost the word. And suddenly there's a lot less tension physically and mentally around that thing. And there's more curiosity. Curiosity is brilliant. We want to encourage curiosity. It's like, that's interesting. That thing has happened again. Now, often at that stage, if you can smile, and I don't necessarily mean externally, because you start grinning at your team and talking now, she's grinning manically, it's probably not going to help you. So we want to smile like internally, and that internal smile just kind of lets go of things. It's like, okay, it's like accepting the status quo. I'm here, I've forgotten the word, oh well. And we just smile, let it go. And then, as Kate said, the third thing we need to do is actually breathe out, because stress causes the body to tighten up. So I want you to imagine your body is now a balloon and it's filled with air. Now, the last thing you want to do to that balloon at this point is put more air in, because it's just going to pop. So we've got this tightness, we've got this tension in the body that we're trying mentally to release by thinking, isn't that interesting, by doing that internal smile. Now we have to physically release it. And the only way to do it is actually to breathe out. And as you do that, you can feel your shoulders drop, you can feel your rib cage relax, and that means your diaphragm is going to relax as well, which means the next time that you breathe in, you're going to take a deep breath. Now that means your body's now filled with oxygen, which means you're probably going to be able to think a bit more clearly. You've given yourself that break, as you said, and hopefully your adrenals have stopped producing that adrenaline and that cortisol. They've relaxed, you've relaxed. Your audience, this has all happened in a fraction of a second. So your audience aren't sat there thinking, well, where's Kate gone? What's she doing? That this happens so quickly that you will probably find that you can get yourself back. Now, you might not find the word that you were looking for, but you'll certainly have found a way to continue the conversation or continue the presentation in whatever way that might be. And sometimes people at that stage feel so confident, they go, do you know what? I've completely lost my train of thread. What was I talking about? I've had clients do that, and their teams will go, oh, you were just doing about this, and they carry on, and it's nothing by that stage, because they've maintained control.
I have done the breathing out and then allowing myself that moment and then breathing in. It's not 100%, but it is very, very good. And it's so simple. You can do it so easily. And also, I think what's really, really important about it is it gives you a sense of control. In that moment, you think, oh, here it comes, or, oh God, I've forgotten that word. And then breathing in. If you've got a tactic in that moment, it gives you, or me anyway, the sense of control that I know what to do in this moment that will give me something back. And that allows my brain to go, oh, okay, she's actually in control and I know where we're going now. It gave me the moment that my brain needed to go, okay, I've got that.
Yeah. And obviously the alternative is if you kind of go, I've done it again, and they're now looking at me and now they're going to think I'm stupid, or I don't know what I'm talking about. Obviously you're going in the opposite direction at that stage. You're building up the tensions, which is going to make it harder for you to breathe, harder for you to sound in control, harder for you to find the words that you want to find. So yeah, we definitely want to be bringing, I talk to people about energy. You know, when we're starting to get tense, we're bringing the energy up and everything is getting tighter. And actually, we just want to bring the energy back down and just let it go. Be more relaxed, the more relaxed we can possibly be. But that only is going to happen if we've got that mindset of like, oh, isn't that interesting? Done it again. How funny. You know, as long as you're relaxed, you're in control, your audience will feel comfortable. It's when you're not in control that they start to feel uncomfortable, because they're used to you being in control, because you've built all this credibility, and now they need you to be in control of the situation no matter what's happening.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important point. And I know that we'll be discussing that kind of control dynamic in one of the later videos. So if you're interested, absolutely join us for that. And I think that is such a critical point, isn't it? That you're in control, you've got the credibility, you've worked seriously hard to get to this point. You're not here by magic. You're here because you've done the hard graft, you've made the career that you have, you've created it. And let's face it, as a woman, you've worked seriously hard to get to this point. It certainly isn't because of, just by pure luck. You are here because of the hard graft you have put in to get here. And it's about remembering that you are here through your own efforts and that you have control at this point. You are more than capable, and that even in the depths of menopause, and it does get very dark and very deep for some women, but not for all, that you can actually gain control even in those moments. And tactics like the breathing out and then breathing in are really important. So in those moments when they don't come back, those words are just gone forever. And how could women deliver that, oh my goodness, I've forgotten completely, or what was I saying? How can you say that with some sort of control and seniority and credibility how can you keep your credibility in that moment and say it light and breezy so that everyone goes, oh gosh, yes, it's just one of those things?
I guess you've got two options. One is you can ask a question. So, obviously we want, even if you're presenting, we want to feel like this is a conversation. So the more conversational it can be. So the obvious question you can ask at that point is like, what are your thoughts so far? Where are you thinking? What are the upsides of this? What are the downsides of this? Get the audience to interact, with you as what's been presented so far. Well, the conversation has been so far. That way, whatever they talk to you about, it will trigger what you've just been talking about. So that's a great way of doing it. The other way is to make statements, to make sure you make very clear statements that you say, I've completely forgotten what I was talking about. It's totally gone. Can someone remind me what I was saying? Or I've lost my train of thought. What are your thoughts up to this stage? So that it's just really clear. There's no blame. There's no issue around it. So that you're very clear. You're as you've said, in control of the situation. So there's no kind of like, oh dear, I've lost what I was talking about. Your audience will forgive you for pretty much anything except not caring about them. So as long as you demonstrate that you're still in control, that you still care about this meeting, this conversation, then they will forgive you for forgetting where you are. But I would say be concise, be short, and be really clear about, I'm sorry, this is one of my menopause symptoms. I've forgotten where I was. Can somebody please remind me? So it's more of a directive. It's an order. I don't mean that in a kind of horrible way, but it's a kind of, please tell me where we were.
Yeah, and I think, gosh, the power in that, the two versions of managing the other people's expectation in this in a controlled manner, rather than, concentrating on the issue that's inside your own body. So it's externally projecting control, isn't it?
Definitely. I'd see in some ways it's no different than asking what page you're on. Sorry, what page are we on now? You wouldn't say, oh, I'm really sorry. I mean, what's the page number? You'd say, what page are we on? It's the same kind of thing. It's just because we, at that stage, we're the page, we take the blame on ourselves, and actually it isn't ourselves, it's our system, our body, our physiology that we have no control over. You know, it's going to do its thing. So if we can maintain some vocal, some physical control over the situation and be unapologetic is the right word, unapologetic about it, then nobody else in the room is going to bother. They're not going to bat an eyelid.
I think that's, oh gosh, there's such important points. They are so incredibly important. And it is about, it is all about focusing on that, like, and what page are we on? Rather than, oh my God, I've lost the page. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? And internalizing the issue. It's about externally just saying, I'm in control. This might have happened, but that's okay. We've still got somewhere to go with this.
Yeah. The really nice way of thinking about that is the difference between attention and intention. So my intention is to run a really effective meeting. My intention is to make this decision by the end of it. My intention is to come up with a new idea, whatever your intention for that particular meeting might be.
Yeah.
But at that moment when you forget where you are because you've got this brain fog, it's really easy to get sucked into attention. Everyone's looking at me. Everyone's looking at me. It's me, it's me, it's me. And actually, if you refocus on that intention at the time, my intention is to make a decision about this by the end of the meeting. Okay, so how far along are we, team, in making the decision at this point?
Gosh, that's incredible. So you set your intention at the beginning of the meeting, and should any of the symptoms that are in the menopause occur, then you just immediately attach to the intention rather than the attention of what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. So if in all of that, you're wondering about how to control that level of vulnerability and keep your credibility in an important situation without feeling too vulnerable, too at risk of losing that credibility, of rumours starting, of you losing this important moment, whatever it might be, then that's exactly what the next video is all about. Or please subscribe, leave a message, and we will see you soon.